Welcome back, all my free thinkers, to another evening edition of the Grow Rich, Grow Happy Crypto Show. Now, I was conflicted. I didn't know if I should start this off with explosions or shots fired. Really, seriously, because this was a heated debate that took place not long ago from what I'm looking at. Actually, it was, when was this? I don't know. I want to say it's fairly new. I received it from Jay Razzo, extraordinary blockchain crypto journalist. And he told me take a look at this interesting conversation between Paul Barron Network and the Canton co-founder, Yuval Rooz. And, I've shown you interviews with him. And the heated debate really is about whether Canton Network is decentralized, a decentralized network like they claim, or a centralized network. Now, some important things, some questions were raised in it. I felt like maybe Paul Barron already had his mind made up. And this is why I always come with you with certain quotes sometimes. And I tell you, never defend yourself or debate with someone that they're going to misunderstand you anyway. But I give Yuval credit for going on this show and trying to clear this matter up. Guys, make sure you smash that like button, give me a sub, hit that bell notification so that you don't miss any of these videos. And if you like the Canton Network or you're still on the fence about it, I know some of the free thinkers out there, you don't like it. And I believe it's because of some of these things here. This didn't change my mind, but it did make me think about, take a deeper thought with how I feel about meme coins, which I can't stand them. But anyway, we're gonna jump into this. I'm only gonna show you a little bit. I will leave the link down below because I believe anyone who's invested in Canton, you really should listen to this whole 30 minutes over the weekend and then come away, think about it, pick up my book. Those of you who got my book, bounce some of the things you find out against this, Overcoming Self for Crypto Wealth, and then choose for yourself. Again, this is not financial advice. I want everyone to be on an even playing field. So we're going to jump straight into this. All right.
And again, this is something that people were kind of prodding me on Twitter to talk about Canton. So I put out a quote and a tweet, and it was, a few people talked about it, but Yuval came on, rightly so, and said,
now I want to pause it right here because this was the issue. I guess, just to let you know, Paul Barron is he's a journalist and he's a crypto analyst. He looks into AI and all of that. And he has a big following, as you can see here, over 2 million subscribers. So he's really trusted in the field. But this is where it all started. I guess he did some research because, as he said, that people on Twitter were telling him, you really should talk about Canton. You should look into Canton. And I guess that happened on March 5th. So this isn't old. He says research. And he posted this on X. Canton coin has a fair launch with no pre-mine, just like things like Casper. It's used to pay fees and incentivize validators. But he says there was an issue right here. The governance is held by a collective of major financial institutions, the GSF, and that stands for Global Synchronizer Foundation. Now, a good way to look at that is think of Canton Network as a highway. Well, this Global Synchronizer Foundation, they would be the governing bodies who make sure everything runs smoothly. But that seems to be the problem because he says, while they claim decentralized governance, and then I guess he goes in to say they are not. And I guess you got Yuval Rooz. He had a problem with that. He's the co-founder. He says, happy to come on your show and explain why this post couldn't be more wrong. The foundation that is a collective, but far from what you claimed it is, it has one vote. And I guess they're saying it has one vote. On Canton, it's the Super Validators who vote on governance. And they are even more far from what you described. So please try again. So credit to him for even trying to clear this up. But I always say never argue with someone or debate with someone whose whole objective is to misunderstand you anyway. You guys know how I feel. So I'm going to go on and I'm going to play just a couple sections up in here for you, and we're going to check it out together. We're not going to play it all. I'll leave it below.
My post could not be more wrong. I'm far from what I claimed it is, and also I should try again. So we said, let's try again, and we're going to bring Yuval on to talk a little bit more about this. So Yuval Rooz coming in today. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Excellent, excellent. So we have a lot of questions. I want to get into a handful that kind of goes into it. First of all, when I go to DeFi Llama, why would it not be on there? What would be the reason?
Don't know, to be honest. I don't have an answer. Even in the XYZ example, I saw your interesting intro. This whole represented versus distributed. Yeah. Listen, I think that this industry, as every industry, has people that have ideas of what it should represent. We've seen the whole discussion about the Ethereum Foundation in the last few days. We have different approaches. Tempo launching saying that it's permissionless, and now people are showing that you need to be permissioned to be a validator.
Now, what he's talking about is, I guess there's some rumblings out there saying that Canton is trying to be the next Ethereum. And I hope I'm not, the stuff I post don't say that. I'm not saying it's trying to be the next Ethereum. I'm saying that it's going to reach those type of numbers. But I guess there's a larger group out there that are saying they're trying to be the next Ethereum. And I guess that's where the contention is coming in, that they're saying, well, Ethereum's decentralized. It's open source, but not open source, but it is decentralized. They have meme coins and things like that versus Canton, who Barron is accusing of being centralized. So with that, I want to jump to this part right here.
And get it narrowed down. How is Canton different from the many other institutional chains that are out there? What would you say, to really make it easy for our audience to understand what really makes them different than the other chains that are popping up right now?
Why? First of all, I would start with, why do you call Canton an institutional chain?
Well, I think we can talk about that. That's what we think it is.
Oh, I understand that it's a good thing to call it.
Now, I believe personally with what Barron is saying, Paul Barron, I believe too, it's institutionalized just based on how it is with Wall Street and all of the institutions and the banks that are going on to it. It's all about privacy. I believe that personally. I don't see that as being a bad thing, because banks and enterprises, they want privacy. They want a private network. So for me, knowing that and I understand it, I don't have a problem with it. Even though they're saying they're decentralized, I don't have a problem with it. But listen,
when you look at every L1 in the last 3 years, what have been their biggest announcement? Oh, I issued a money market fund with this big institution. Oh, I've done this integration with this big institution. That's what all of these L1s have celebrated. So I don't understand where you call a chain an institutional chain. It was actually started by a startup. We created the technology. There are 40 plus super validators. Not all of them are institutions, or to be honest, I don't even know how you define an institution. I think what we're trying to say by institution, it's the old guard of Wall Street. Well, actually, if you go and look at the list of super validators, most of them are not. So I'm just, again, trying to understand what makes a chain an institutional chain.
Basically, I believe it's because, just from the outside looking in, it's pretty self-explanatory. You can see that Canton is building the blockchain rails for Wall Street. Now, that's institutional money, but that's just me. Listen,
I would say the network, in terms of being able to have degens, we'll call it that. That's part of this market anyway. If you look at just a meme coins right now, we have a meme coin now listed as a commodity. So it's clear that there is a track for that. But
he's talking about Shiba Inu. And he's talking about degens, those out there who are into the meme coins and all of that. I could care less about any of that. I know some of you guys are the free thinkers. You might be into meme coins. I don't do meme coins. I don't do them at all. So it feels like this is where Paul was setting him up. But I like the way he navigated. So check this out. This is the part right here where you have to understand the difference between what you deem as old crypto versus what I consider new crypto. So check this out.
But what is the top meme coin on Canton?
We don't have a meme coin on Canton. What is that top meme coin on XRP?
There's hundreds on XRPL. Meme coins.
What is the top? Come on, Paul. I mean, what is the top meme
I'm not going to mention a meme. I'm not going to mention a meme coin.
Cool. I think that the point was made. What is the top meme coin on Avalon? What is the top meme coin? I mean, we can keep on going. I mean,
the ones that I like, you're asking me to just list meme coins? All right. So
no, I'm saying what is the top? Because you ask what is a top. And I guess my point is there is no meme coin on Canton because maybe we as a community didn't necessarily prioritize having a meme coin. But if not having a meme coin makes us an institutional chain or a corp chain, then I'm accepting it. That's a
bam. You see that? You see that, guys? If that's the case, if that's the bar that they have to have a meme coin to be accepted into a club, guess what? You build your own club. Now, I've been said, I hope meme coins go away. I don't think that they will. And congrats to everybody out there who have made money on meme coins. I was one of those people back in the day. I didn't make nearly enough money because I didn't understand. Crypto is entering just a whole brand new world when it comes to digital finance. And I think, I really think meme coins are probably still going to stick around, but I think it's unfair to say that they pretty much need a meme coin to not be considered institutional. But again, that's me.
That's okay.
Okay. All right.
By the way, I don't have a problem with the definition. I just am trying to understand what does the question insinuate.
Well, I think the market looks at an institutional chain differently than an open chain. An open chain is going to have networks that have these kind of things available all the time,
And that's fair. That's fair.
Whether you look at XRP or you look at what's happening on Solana, Avalanche, any of those, all of which have kind of proven themselves to be open networks, or at least have the ability to go in that direction. So I think that's the point.
So I just want to clarify. If it was possible to launch a meme coin on Canton in a permissionless manner, then we would lose the definition of an institutional chain. Because I think that we have DEXs, we have prediction markets, we have other things that you would maybe associate more with the, degen economy. We just don't have a meme coin. So I'm just trying to understand where is the definition.
So you're saying it's possible to launch a meme coin now on Canton Network?
100%.
What is the argument here? That's my whole issue is, what is the argument? Understand your crypto and what's the expectation? Personally, I don't care if they have a meme coin or not. Honestly, I don't want them to, considering what they are positioned to do. If they're building out blockchain rails pretty much for Wall Street, why would they have a meme coin? Meme coins to me water things down. And I know you got these degens out here that are making money on them and they're flipping them. But on the flip side of that, you got people who don't understand crypto that come into the market and they get wrecked by things like that. So that's my whole thing. I believe that Canton is going to reach those prices because they don't have things like a meme coin, because they're built on privacy. Their whole premise. That's why I say, when you're studying your crypto, what are they trying to do? Why did they originate? That's all. Play a little more and then we're going to jump over.
Why haven't you done it?
Because we have other priorities. Again, maybe we should, maybe
That's like asking me, Mr. Forsyth, why haven't you talked about any meme coins lately? Because I'm not. That's how I'm going to answer the question. Because I'm not. I am not. I don't care that they put Shiba Inu and said it's a commodity. That's one of the examples that the SEC used. It's not for me. Sorry. If people make their money, they make their money. But I just hate those kind of questions and the way they set you up. Again, I feel like this is more of a debate than just education. I feel like the Canton Network, Yuval, came up there to educate the public and change the narrative and say, hold on. You're speaking incorrectly about our stuff. And then you got somebody here that's just trying to dismantle him. That's just me, though. You know what? I'm going to stop it here for the interest of time. But trust me, guys, you want to watch this interview, especially if you hold Canton token. I'm going to jump over here because I want to show you this price right now. And as you see, they had a lot of things going on here. And I'm on Coin Market Cap, guys. What I like about this is if you look here, they're down right now to 14 cent. They're down now over the month. They're down almost 15%. I still see it as a ripe opportunity for my portfolio. You guys do you. But I am going to jump up here because when they were up, it's because of here. They were listed on Robinhood Spot right here, guys. They were listed. Canton. So do you see that though? You understand, you see how all of this is playing into the larger narrative here of crypto being the just certain assets of crypto now just moving over into Wall Street, becoming, part of enterprise, and these institutions are moving in. I hope you caught that last episode I did on Zebic. As you see, ZBCN now can be held in an IRA tax-free account on crypto.com. And it's only going to continue, guys, just because you have to separate meme coins from the real deal tokens that hold true utility, and don't let large networks confuse you. Know what you hold, guys. And I don't know how you guys feel about Canton. And yes, it's not on Tangent or anything yet, but I showed you a video where it is some cold storage wallets you can get it on. I don't know if it'll ever reach Tangent and all of that, but the more I understand it, I'm starting to understand why. A lot of it is because it wasn't made for, I don't believe it was made for a lot of the degens and people out there. And that's one of the contentions that a lot of people get confused with it, and they dislike it. Me, I'm on the other train. I'm glad that they don't have any of those, they're not trying to be the next Ethereum. I just believe that their price is going to reach the likes of an Ethereum. And whether that's based on people out there who are investing in it, and they're investing in it with the idea that it's just like all of these other cryptocurrencies out there, or people out there like me that's on the other side that understand what I hold, and I'm willing to, continue to go in on this. You guys let me know down below, what do you think of that particular episode on the Paul Barron Network? I will leave it down below so you guys can check it out in its full detail. Let me know. Until the next one, guys, have a great weekend. I'm out.